Welcome to another edition of Dream Firm Leader Interviews. And I am here to bring to you an unbelievable set of expertise. And I'd like to introduce to you exactly who that is. So introducing to you the CPA with the added wisdom of an MBA combined with over 30 years of practical, hands-on experience in the accounting space, a fierce foe of the false friend of Intuit, and financial savior who distills the hard truth of the numbers for distilleries, breweries, and the winery industry. A woman with in-depth knowledge of how you too can create your dream firm. Please join me in welcoming the CFO that moves companies forward, to the entrepreneur that brews up the best financial solutions for her clients, the dream firm leader of CFO Forward, the one, the only, Lisa Gehring. Lisa, it is an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Tyler. I'm doing just great.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for carving some time out of your day to share a bit of your experiences with us. And what I like to do is just make sure everyone can have a bit of a background for who you are and what has really led you up to where you are today. So if we can go back to really that initial spark that led you down a path in accounting, and then if we can just transfer that to the spark of entrepreneurship and when you really started your company, that gives everyone, I think, a good base to start to work from. So please, after you.
Okay, it's funny that you call it that spark. Actually, the spark hit me in high school, and one of my friends said, "You got to take this accounting class. It's really cool." And I did, and I liked it, and putting all those numbers and columns and all that stuff. So that's been me since then. I got a 1-year certificate because I was sick of going to school after I graduated from high school, and then I went back and was an untraditional student and got my bachelor's in accounting about 8 years later. And I went out into the business world, and pretty quickly I was the CFO, or the top financial person at a small company. Actually worked in the first place for 10 years. I learned so much, and I spent the next I won't tell you exactly how many years doing the same thing. I loved being the CFO for small companies, being part of their team and helping them in all kinds of different ways. About 10 years ago, I decided, why don't I go do this on my own? And that's when I started my company, because I had just gotten married to my love of my life. And he liked to
Still
travel.
Getting tongue-tied talking about the love of your life. 10 years? Oh,
I was
goodness,
trying to
amazing.
decide whether to say which marriage it was, if you want to know the truth. Okay, it was my third. Third was a charm for me, but whatever. But we both like to travel, and I thought, if I'm self-employed, I can have the time to go travel and I can work wherever I want. And we sat in a hotel room in Reims, France, and we're talking and working on our computers, and we were tired, from walking around trying to find the Venice of France or whatever. But anyway, so I started, I became a QuickBooks Pro Advisor. And I started getting leads for that, started picking up clients, gotten referrals, stuff like that. And now I have my own firm, and I have 2.5 accounting employees, and working on growing that. The one story I'd like to tell about being able to be anywhere and still be able to do business was the phone call I had in Venice with the IRS, sitting out on the little tiny balcony they had. Well, I don't know if I was sipping wine yet, but I probably was.
Coffee. This is the coffee one.
Yeah. And sitting out there with thousands of pigeons over the rooftops in the Duomo in the background, talking to the IRS about one of my clients because they were not paying their income taxes. And I thought, well, this is not on my agenda for what I wanted to do in Venice, but I could take care of something. And, so, and I wanted to work 24/7, have my own business, but that's changing.
That's changing.
So anyway, that's my background.
Awesome. So I appreciate this. And just to re-summarize for anyone that's joining us, Lisa's one of our clients, and we're discussing her background. And her background starts, like most of ours, at a young age. In high school, was fortunate enough to have a friend tap her on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you gotta join this accounting class." Goes up through the ranks, really learns accounting with not only with the collegiate approach, getting her MBA, and then of course going through the ranks and getting her practical hands-on experience, because it's really hard to learn accounting just from textbooks. You actually have to do the work. Spends more than a decade in that particular career path. Again, rises to the highest level financial role in the company. And not so long ago, she decides to transition into her firm, mainly for what seems to be lifestyle reasons, and accompanies a wonderful story about being able to deal with the IRS, because when they call you back, finally, you actually have to answer. And we had to take that call in Venice, and what better place to be able to deal with the IRS if you have to deal with them at all. So absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for providing a little bit of a backdrop for just where your journey started, and bring us up to today a little bit. But tell us a little bit more about the services you provide. And I highlighted the term CFO several times in your introduction, because I find that this is a term that people want to learn more about. It's a term that they feel that they sometimes already are, but have a hard time defining. But I like to get a good sense for your service delivery model and how that really plays into your value proposition as a CFO. So tell us about the services that you offer right now, Lisa.
Well, in short, I basically offer full service accounting, consulting, and tax services. And I like to have clients that we're interactive with all year, that we do the bookkeeping for them, and as well as financials every month, the standard stuff. But I review the books obviously my staff is the one that does all the entries and all that good stuff. But I review the books and look for things that look like they might need to be investigated, or situations. And it's not something, I provide other services as I see them needed. For example, I had a client, he was a new client a few years ago. And I was like in my second or third month cleaning up his books and everything, because his office manager who did the books wasn't real good. You probably and some people have probably run into that. Anybody can do bookkeeping, right? And he told me that she wasn't that great in accounting, but he trusted her with his life. And she was doing the payroll, and he was going to switch that over to me. And I started looking at it, and I thought, that's a lot of overtime. And so as we're doing the payroll, there is this reimbursement that looks like a one-time reimbursement. And I asked her for herself. I asked her about it, and she said, "Oh, that's not adding to my check." And I'm like, yeah, it is. And so I started looking around, and I found a couple of extra checks and at least 10 hours of overtime every week. And it all added up to like $20,000 over just a few months. So I did a little audit, and here I am, and I don't know this client that well yet. And I had to tell him some really bad news, and he had to, and he terminated her. So it just, you never know what might come up. And that's why it helps to have that degree, and the MBA helped too.
Yeah, and I think that this is, again, it goes to one of the stronger value propositions in the accounting space that I don't find is really highlighted as often as it should be. The watchdog approach, right? The idea that we're going to catch things that you're not going to be aware of, that are coming from people that aren't maybe acting with your best interest at heart. And I was talking to another client earlier today, and I think it ties perfectly into this. And really, the value proposition is I'm going to give it to you straight. And whether you like it or not, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to make sure you're aware of it, and then we'll plan what to do about it after the fact. And this seems very much in line with this. We've got such a wide range of service deliveries, but it's still that high level expert oversight that allows us to go, what is this about right here? And then we just pull on that thread a little bit, and then, all of a sudden, here's $20,000. How did this happen in just such a short time period? So again, I think that sometimes the term CFO has this almost like mythical degree of kind of like, it's just like hoisted up here. But when you have a rich experience, you've seen it all to a certain point. Now you're in the position where you get to identify trends. You're able to communicate those to your clients. And when you communicate them to them, you're participating in this advisory sphere, you're participating in meaningful conversations, and they're so grateful for that. And again, that to me is just like primarily what Lisa is doing and the vast majority of our clients. So fantastic story. Thank you so much for sharing that. My next question here is, I know that you are one of our clients, and we have people that are watching this that may be considering it at some point. And I find that the hardest thing when it comes to joining any service from any service professionals, what happens after I commit, right? What happens once I decide to get things moving forward? So I want to, before we do that, I want to talk about why you join, because everybody has a reason for wanting to join a program or wanting to be able to get some level of service from some professional. So tell us about what your life was like before working with dream firms.
Okay. I had my consulting firm, and I was pretty much working 24/7, doing almost everything myself. I did have a couple of employees, but I did not have that key top employee, the accounting manager, so they could review the books and give me heads up on things before I looked at it, cut my time down. And my life was just very hectic. I didn't have much time for myself, and being able to go anywhere in the world and work is great, except when it's hard to curve out some time to see David or, the Sistine Chapel and things like that when you're working most of the day. So it was hectic. I was getting my leads from the QuickBooks Pro Advisor program, and I'm a platinum. And took this really difficult test, mostly because so I could become an advanced pro advisor. Really difficult test because, QuickBooks has a different idea about what accounting should be, and the answers were not good. And I failed it the first time, and I passed. Back in the day when I took my CPA, it was all on paper, all 4 parts, 2.5 days sitting there with paper, pencil, and no calculator or anything. I passed it the first time, but I failed QuickBooks stupid pro advisor program. So anyway, yeah, that was my life.
So it sounds, and you brought up an interesting point, and I'd like to pull it out a little bit because I think it will tie into a particular statistic that I know people are going to be really interested to hear in terms of the leads that have been generated for you during the slowest time of the year. But You mentioned Intuit and being a part of their Pro Advisor program and then them giving you leads. Now, I think we all know that Intuit has really choked off that supply of opportunity to their most fervent supporters, and now they're funneling it into their own internal bookkeeping operation. And so how did that play a relatively large factor, Lisa, for you, for why you decided to explore the Create Your Dream Firm program in the first place? You saw that that was on the horizon, or it had already started to directly impact your ability to get new opportunities for your firm?
Yes, that did. But you know what? As much as I hate Intuit and QuickBooks, because well, they have us trapped on top of not giving us any leads. I started looking around, and you know what? It was the best thing that anybody's ever done for me, if you want to know the truth. Because I had 20 clients in about 16 different industries, and you talk about crazy, trying to learn all these industries. You know, it was just really not a good set of clients.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's complex. I mean, even when we had that Intuit pipeline opening up, what came through that pipeline was pretty random and oftentimes not even of the type of quality we're looking for. And that tends to lend itself to that really chaotic lifestyle you were describing before that, 24/7, not being able to enjoy the vacations that we're on, not being able to take more time with our family members and loved ones. And then we don't even have the help we need, or don't have the money from our current crop of clients to hire the help we need. And then we're trapped in this vicious cycle of working too much for too little. And I'm glad to know that we're on the other end of that. But before we talk about kind of where we are today, I'd like to get an understanding if perhaps you had tried to seek out help before Dream Firms in any other capacity. Did you try working or investing in any other programs? And if you had, did you find anything kind of meaningful from them, or were you really just using us for the first time when it came to trying to grow and scale your firm?
Yeah, I did try some other people, and you know, probably learned a few things, you know, like one from each that I can think of, you know, about quoting what numbers to give and how to get the most, you know, all that stuff. And some about proposals, you know, how to do proposals, but it was just kind of, you know, very narrow what their width of their training was. And a couple of good ideas, but not enough to put any money into them for very long. I mean, I did put some money into them, and then I stopped because it just wasn't helping me that much.
I hear that a lot, which is maybe some good information, maybe a strategy or tactic, but it doesn't seem to bear fruit quickly enough to justify the ongoing costs associated with it. And then unfortunately, we have to shut it down, and really we're only left with a little bit of information, and that can be very valuable. But as we all know, at least the people that work with us, it's got to be fully comprehensive. If it's not holistic, just like the services you offer, it'd be like, you just do the books, we're not really doing a whole lot to really help the client. I mean, it's important because it's fundamental and foundational to be able to get to the higher levels, to be able to do the analyses. But if we're just saying, well, here's the information, here's no support systems, here's no team to help implement these things, and more importantly, the associated results, I find that it's just a little bit of chasing our tail and leads to a lot of frustration. Let's go back in time to really when we first decided to work together. Now, you picked a very interesting time to sign up with us. I actually was checking your records before this. You started the week of April 15th with us. And if there's ever a true point at which everything comes to fruition, you're just like, I got to change something, it's during that time period. But specifically, why did you start working with us? What was it that really spoke to you that said, this is something I need to get involved with?
Well, I had to get my CPE. As everybody that's a CPA knows, like 40 hours a year. And I happened to catch a couple of trainings, that Tyler did, and I really liked some of the stuff he was saying. And then I would see information about how many people, and I looked at his website and how many people are saying 5 stars, it's the best investment I ever made, and just do what Tyler says. And I made, I'm the 100K club and all this stuff. And I thought, well, these are all legitimate accountants. I mean, I looked at a lot of them. I think I can, hang my hat on that, just kind of join in, find out what they're talking about. So
Beautiful. So we came to the end of tax season, probably a little tired of the way things were currently being done. And then we said, okay, I got to get the CPE in. The CPE, I like the information. I'm going to validate it. I validate it. I see people that are like me. And if they can do it and they've had this experience, why can't I? Now, before we go any further, Lisa, we have helped you to do a couple of key things that have made your client acquisition journey a little bit easier. But I want to just highlight that experience that you had with us when you looked at us. You said, hey, these people, they've had great experiences. When people look at CFO Forward, if people type CFO Forward right now, cfoforward.com, or they go and check you out on Google My Business, are they going to see something similar that talks about how amazing you are?
I do have, I think, 17. I'm a small company, so 22 clients. I have 17 5-star reviews, and my clients love me, I know, but that's okay.
The reason I bring that up is that buying experience, right? We want to replicate that same sort of experience in that environment on behalf of our clients. And 17 out of 22 is absolutely fantastic. So you're doing something really, really right on behalf of your clients. Let's talk a little bit more about where we are today. And you've shared some really amazing things, whether it's in the Zoom chat, on the wins, when we have our weekly group coaching calls and we have that small time allocated for that. The review you left us, it literally made me cry. It was so nice. I can't thank you enough for it. But the only reason that you would write or say these things is because this has changed your life. And I'd like people to help. I want to help everyone to understand how it has changed your life. So as specific as you can be, in what ways has the Create Your Dream Firm program changed your life?
Well, the biggest one so far, besides, the clients, I'll get to that, is hiring, Tyler's hiring methods. It's so smart and so unique. Some things I've never heard of before. And I was able to put an ad out, per instructions, and I got a whole bunch of responses. This was an accounting manager, so it wasn't, thousands of them like you get for bookkeepers. But through the questions that I asked, the tests that I gave, I was able to narrow it down to one gentleman, one young man who really stood out. There were 2 that were pretty good. So there was another one that I probably would have talked to if it hadn't been for him. But, the training program, I think the total hours I spent were maybe 2, maybe 3, in putting the ad together and stuff like that, which of course Tyler helped with, and Tyler and his team helped me put that together. So it was much smarter than the usual dry ads I put, most people put on. And I narrowed it down to one person, and I did one interview. That was the last step, just to confirm that everything that he answered and everything. And he, he's been working for me. I think it was just last month. He's been working for me maybe 6 weeks or so, and maybe 8, I don't know. But he and I, we get together often because I'm training him a lot of things. I mean, he is just on the verge of getting his MBA and his CPA. And we have fun together on it too. And I actually did an internet or a QuickBook rant to him the other day. I mean, a serious rant. I got to remember that QuickBooks got me to find Tyler though. So they're not all bad. No, serious people. I'm serious. I'm not just saying this. This is my volunteered time to let other people know about dream leads, dream firms. Dream leads comes with it. And speaking of leads, I get lots of leads and phone calls. I mean, I have like 4 on Friday and 2 appointments, so I'll be crazy busy, which is great. And they want to talk to me in my industry, and I guess it's really beverage, because one of them is one of my first ones. It was an alcoholic beverage. It was a beverage that's a mixer, so it can be, and she's doing, winning all these awards and everything. But I find that I just did a calculation, and I am able to bill them about 50% more than I bill the other clients, new clients, especially the ones with QuickBooks, because they're all price shopping, most of them are, and 50% more, seriously. And they want to talk to me, and they're easy to sell, and his team helps me get those. I mean, I know when they post my weekly blog or whatever it's called on Facebook and LinkedIn, here comes the calls, here comes the appointment. It's just awesome. Anyway.
Fantastic. And if I could just summarize that, really what we experienced is twofold. In order for the owner to be able to grow the firm, they have to get out of the minutia, right? Like they have to get out of the day-to-day. And the problem with marketing programs is most of you don't even want to take another client. Some of you are excited to take more clients for sure, but a lot of you are bottlenecked. And so we got to de-bottleneck the owner to get them excited about growing. And per Lisa's advice and guidance here, we're able to provide some really smart, hands-on, very tactical strategies, not just theory. This is proven to work. And we're talking about a tough job market, right? We're talking about where people are saying it's impossible to find people to hire and train. And I always say, not my clients, not in my no one says that in our program. And it's because we treat the hiring process fundamentally differently. That's it. And again, we help you. Like Lisa said, it's not just her trying to figure it out from some video. It's like our team is here to support the owner to take things off their plate, not just say, oh, here's the information, you go and do it. Enjoy the login and password to a course. That model is gone. It's not coming back. And on top of that, niche specific leads. And I'm looking at her stats. She's averaged 3 new appointments every single week during the slowest time of year. So in other words, from April 15th till today, she's averaged 3 new appointments per week that have been generated by our team.
Yep.
And then you get to have a lot of fun when you're not doing the minutia and you're selling, you're interacting with your dream clients, and you're selling them at a 50% higher rate because they're not price shopping through Intuit. They're coming directly to you. They see your expert status, and then all of a sudden they connect the dots and they go, this is different. This is worth more. And we'd like to get started. So fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing those points with us, Lisa. And I'm happy to provide a little context for everyone else who doesn't get to see kind of the behind the scenes. Let's go back to the beginning of our relationship as well, though, because I wanted to talk about this earlier, but I wanted to set the context for kind of what the results were. What was it like getting started with us? You're coming out of tax season. It's April 15th, right? You change is on the horizon with the way Intuit's doing things. You got to change the way things are running in your firm because you're just working too much for too little. But once you got started, just talk about that process of really moving forward in the very early stages with us and what you felt about that experience.
Yeah, it was great. I started learning things right away, and things about how to be a better leader, how to, how I should, mindset things and things like that. And, where I was always getting up and saying, okay, do so-and-so, finish so-and-so's tax returns and get that and this and all my whole list of things. And, my mindset was to be an accountant. But, it changed very quickly. I am a pro, yes, I am a dream firm's leader. Exactly. Oh, I still have the box here and it's empty now. I read
Cool
the
box
book.
though, right?
Yeah, but the box is still sitting there. Yeah, so it's, the program just so logically moves, through with each, the different lessons. That there was, there's videos, but then there is group trainings every week. And somewhere I have notes about this, but Tyler says, we have to create our dream firms. That's true. But they are really with us every step of the way. It's the truth. If we need help, we can reach out. If we can't find it in the, the library of videos, every training practically ever done. I can, reach out. I have a contact that will find things for me during the week. And, between on Mondays and Fridays when there's no, well, Fridays now there are, it's been expanded, which I'm so excited about the new Friday training. I loved it. But he just keeps making it bigger and bigger. And I don't know if this is the answer to the right question, but one thing that I'm really impressed about this program is that Tyler is always trying to learn new things and introduce new concepts. And he has done so much research for us that we don't have time to do. And then, he shares that with us. Some of it's stuff he just learned the other day. And he's not thinking, oh, I could sell that for more because I'm providing more content. I love it.
Thank you. We love having you as a client, and I really appreciate you sharing that. And look, our goal explicitly is to, yes, help you every step of the way. And in order to do that, there has to be a meaningful exchange. You got to let us know what you need. And then if we don't have it, and this is my promise to everybody, is like, if for some reason we don't have the resource, if we don't have the thing that makes it easier to implement and solve the biggest problem that you're currently facing. I don't care if it's pricing. I don't care if it's something else related to lead gen, although we're very good at that. I don't care if it's related to sales, hiring, training, fulfillment, software tech stack, advisory. I don't care what it is. If we don't have it, I consider it our highest level of responsibility to create it and share it, and not just, oh, no, we're going to keep this over here and I'm going to keep this to myself. I'm here to help you guys to move a lot faster than you otherwise would by yourself. So I'm glad you're feeling that experience, because quite frankly, I try and put a lot into that. So that's fantastic. I want to shift gears a little bit here. I had a chance to talk a little bit about some of the numbers earlier, really averaging 3 new leads per week since April 15th till today. And for those that are kind of catching this on the replay, it's August 25th. So, I mean, again, this is the slowest time of year, historically speaking, for an accounting firm. That is a tremendous amount of activity for when people are on vacation or they don't care anymore because there's no deadlines right next to it. That's a lot of activity. But I want to, I like to, if you're open to it, and as always, I never apply any pressure on this question. I know you're going to win this award in probably another like few months anyway. But if you're willing to share, how much have you added to your firm and in what time frame?
I have added 5 new clients, annual clients, the clients that I interact with and do their books and stuff every month. And that's in 2 months. And my experience over 10 years has been, you don't get new clients in the summertime. But and it added, for about 45,000 in billing over the course of the year. And that's just amazing to, my firm had been billing, well, at one point it was a couple 100,000 a year, and then it was down to about like 180. So that's a lot of extra billing for me. And it really helps try to keep my guys busy and keep the money flowing. And I am getting to take some time for myself.
That's amazing.
During that.
That's absolutely amazing. And look, I mean, a 25% increase in what is effectively a very short time period is excellent. And again, a short time period, which is also the slowest time period. And I always try and have people just project and think about it's like life is long, right? We're going to be in business for a long time. Like the things you've learned, the things that have been implemented into your business, whether it's a new hire, 4 new clients or 5 clients, $40,000 in new business, that business is going to grow. They're going to add more referrals. You're going to go into the best time of year in just another month or 2 with all of this social proof, 17 new reviews, brand new website that we built for you, and all the other things that we're not even going to have the time to even talk about. And these things stack in such a profound way. All right, so let's talk to the invisible people out there. I can see a couple names right now. Thank you for being with us. But the invisible people out there that are on the fence, Lisa, what would you say to them, the people who are considering our services right now?
I would say start now. Sign up and get going. There's no reason to keep living a hectic life, competing with people on price, because there's a lot of other accountants out there doing the same thing. Working in the niche that you like to work for. His classes fill up sometimes, and I signed up right before the end of the year. And I had to wait for 4.5 months before the next program started, and I was really excited about it. And it was like on my calendar, the first day I was going to become a dream firm. And I didn't even know half this stuff, I didn't know how great it was. I mean, I just took these other accountants' word, and I know how accountants are, so they're not going to say it if it's not true, because there's ethics involved.
One of the reasons I love this profession is I deal with exclusively ethical people, and that's a part of my dream client profile. So really, again, appreciate you saying that. And the main thing is you can either wait or you can create. There's no choice. It's why we call this the proactive accountants community. It's because if you're proactive, you're not sitting around waiting. You're actively creating. You're creating systems. You're participating in meaningful communities. You're targeting your dream client. You're not just waiting and hoping things fall into your lap. We're very, very proactive, and Lisa embodies that to a T. This question's a little bit different. But I think sometimes people imagine things to be a little bit more difficult, or they don't even know necessarily what to expect sometimes. But Lisa, what has surprised you the most when it came to growing your firm? And I know we're not done growing it, but when we're talking about what you've done so far, what do you think has been surprising about this journey so far?
Yeah, we've only just begun. Seriously. I guess the thing that surprised me the most is that people are anxious to talk to me. And and that's never really been, I was just another cog on the different accountants that do QuickBooks before, and I had to rely on my great sales skills, were typical of an accountant. But it was really easy to sell for them because I was pretty set up. My website that Dream Firms created for me is awesome. I get so many compliments on it. And, I just, it's so much. I didn't expect to change so much internally, and have such a better life. And so I've only just started.
I know, so exciting. And what could be more surprising than only in such a shoot, not even half a year, to have such a radical shift in the way we approach our business, the structure of our team, the way our prospective clients, have an appreciation for our service, the way our existing clients are willing to express the appreciation for our service. I mean, again, I'm just so happy that you're so happy, because I know how hard our team works to create these types of experiences. And it's just wonderful to see that firsthand. So final question here, and then I've got a few questions that are coming in on the sidebar here, and I'd like to be able to address them.
Okay.
You know that our community is sacred, Lisa. In other words, we don't just work with anybody. Everyone's extremely supportive. People pass referrals that are not in their niche, that even if they might be a 5-figure contract, people are happy to say, hey, you know what? I don't do restaurants. You're the restaurant guy. Here you go. And we're so dedicated and we're so willing to help each other. And that's to say nothing about Ine Jackson and what she puts together on Process This every Thursday to help everybody stay super profitable and efficient on the back end. But who would you recommend the Create Your Dream Firm program to?
I would recommend, and this is why I'm on this call. It's for other accountants, so I can tell them I would recommend it to any accounting firm leader who wants to sell for higher prices and work less, have a better life, and to have a great team and not have it be such a pain to find people and keep them. Because, I know about the great escape, or whatever we're calling it, that people are getting out of accounting, and good people, that care. But I'm just excited about growing. A lot of it's because I can't wait to hire some more people like Ian, my accounting manager.
Exactly. Accounting is a fantastic career. It's a fantastic opportunity. The fact that people are leaving it says a lot about the lack of leadership from a lot of other firm owners, that they're doing such a poor job with pricing their services, managing their team members' workloads, training their team members to be able to handle that workloads, making investments in their tools to make sure that they can handle a higher level of work and be more efficient in that workload. And then we have people like Lisa and our clients that are actively attracting talent, fostering that talent, and giving them a reason to want to stick around for the long term, because this is a wonderful, wonderful industry. It has so much to give back to the entrepreneurial community, but it is incumbent upon us to make sure that that value is properly understood by those who don't see it, right? A lot of people say, I want my dream client, right, Tyler? I want them to know my value. And I go, they don't know it yet. We have to make sure we communicate it and express it appropriately, both digitally and when we have the chance to engage with them in that sales conversation. But Lisa, this has been fantastic. We're going to jump into our Q&A section. So anyone that has questions, just feel free to drop them into the chat. I've got a list that's being streamed in from a couple of different places. So I'm going to just jump into that. A couple of people send them to me privately as well. So So I've got a question from Jen. My love for traveling is also the reason why I started my virtual practice. The flexibility is amazing. My next trip is to Portugal. Where is yours?
Well, actually, we want to go. I want to go see the pyramids, and go to India. India is such a culturally rich country, and they're so nice.
I have not been to either, but they sound like fantastic destinations. Anywhere else you got on the radar, Lisa?
Well, next month I'm going to take 4 days and go to the ocean, which is 45 minutes away from me. So I now live in paradise. It's Florida. And yeah, I know all Florida is not paradise, but our little neck of it is. We live on a lake, and which is great. I get all these long-necked, long-legged birds. But my goal is to get a condo on the ocean, and my dream firm's gonna do that for me. I'm not quite there yet, but I will be. But yeah, I love travel. Portugal sounds fascinating. Seeing things about that, and I got to go to England because I'm half English. My grandfather, came from there.
Don't forget about France while you're at it.
France, yes. I've been to France twice already.
One more time.
And the only thing we've done is gone from Paris to the edge of Germany, because my other half of me is from Alsace-Lorraine, which I think is in France now. It's, between France and Germany, So we might go back there in that area again sometime next year.
Beautiful. So I've got a few more questions here. I got, Liam just has a comment, which is congrats on the growth of your firm, Lisa. Thank you for the congratulations on behalf of Lisa here. I've got a question from Catherine. How did you learn to become a CFO?
Well, I started out, being a controller, for this firm that I worked for 10 years, the first company. And I just found all kinds of different ways that I could help them that weren't just doing the books. I mean, providing the reports that they need, and seeing what working with the different guys, the head of the different divisions, and what each one of them needed, and being able to talk to them to get the information I needed. I had an employee that said, "You ask the best questions. You have a way, I don't know. I just, and doing metrics for them, comparing them to the industry. There's so much you can do, talking to banks and things like that. I mean, I got some bank loans for this guy I wouldn't have gotten without me and my CPA-ness.
Beautiful. So if I could just summarize that, there is no certification that's going to be like, you're a CFO. I know people are trying to say that right now, but really it's rich experience interacting with high-level entrepreneurs, and more importantly, asking thought-provoking questions that help them to make decisions, and backing that up with data that they need to see. There you go. That's how you become a CFO. And excellent job being able to do so, Lisa. I've got another, Greg has a question. Thank you for doing these interviews, Tyler. It's very inspiring. I'm about to go on my own. Do you help people like me? Greg, as long as you are what I like to refer to as a micro full service accounting firm owner, and you are serious about reaching your growth goals, not just talking, but like to do the walking thing too, we're going to walk with you every step of the way. So feel free to book a call. There'll be a link floating around here to do that. You'll speak directly with me, and I'll make sure that you are one of the people that we are willing to help. So we'll walk you through what that looks like. Liam, can you call me to discuss your program? Liam, I cannot call you to discuss my program. I would love to, but I don't play phone tag. It's like I'm allergic to phone tag, like deathly allergic to it. Book a call. would love to speak with you directly, but we got to respect both of our times, and that is the best way to do that. So please do that, Liam, and be happy to speak with you. Sam, do you have one niche or several, Lisa? And I think we can address this pretty succinctly, but really it's one niche, and I would say it's the beverage industry, but we're pretty clear about there's a few sectors of that we call out specifically, a little bit more on the alcohol space. But do you think that's a fair answer to that?
Yes, it is. I mean, all the other people that I still have, because they're decent clients, even if they came from QuickBooks, or they might have been referral, good people. I don't know their industry like I know the, alcoholic beverage industry.
Got it. Beautiful. So yeah, again, one sector and then a few smaller call out niches inside of that. Liam's laughing. Sounds good. I'm booking my call now. Thank you, Liam. Got to abide by systems. Tammy says, I am about to start working with a small local / winery wine tasting room. How did you how did you get into that niche? What really made you want to pick that particular category as your focus?
One of my first clients I got it had a distillery, and he has 3 or 4 different other distilleries that he's recommended, and one of them is a pretty large one, and I've helped them with the whole inventory process. That is one of the tough things, and it's just really interesting, the process that, that wineries and distilleries go through. And then they have this other business that's completely unrelated, the restaurant or the tasting room, so there's a whole new set of challenges.
Very interesting.
I like
Very interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's part of it is you got to want to love the challenges that come along with the space. And that goes for anyone that's getting ready to pick niche selection. And if one of the challenges is inventory and you really like the space, well, you got to lean into inventory and know that that's going to come along with what those dream clients are going to ask of you. Great response. So I got a question from Patrick. Does your program help with pricing? Yes, Patrick, it absolutely does. If you'd like a high-level summary of how we talk about pricing, check out my YouTube channel. You can just look. There's a very clear video on there that talks specifically about pricing strategies. Don't need to spend a bunch of money to learn how to price your services. You can just watch that video, and then we can help you with a whole lot more well beyond that. I've got a question from Jimmy and Peg. They're kind of similar. So Peg asked, where do the leads come from? And Jimmy asked the question of, how do you get your clients' appointments, Tyler? I've tried everything, Facebook ads, YouTube videos, newspaper ads, radio ads, a webinar, Yelp, but can't get high quality appointments from these initiatives. So the answer is that the dream client profile will dictate where we will generate the leads from. I don't like to give just like really blanket advice and guidance. The main thing is like, I am not here to force you into a box. The way that what makes up your dream client is not the same thing that makes up Lisa's dream client, but Lisa's clients, alcohol companies, right? Distilleries, wineries, breweries, they're very active on social media. And so since we know that, we build our entire strategy around going to where they're investing their time, the high level, again, companies, thought leaders, those individuals, and we're making offers for them to engage with a niche specific expert. I mean, who says no to that, especially in a field in which people don't feel like they get enough love or attention from their accountant? Now they're getting an outreach directly from someone in something that they feel is being neglected. And so it's a very easy thing to say yes to. And that's where we generate the vast majority of leads, at least specifically for Lisa. But that at least gives you guys an idea of how that works. There's no ad spend. She's not spending money on Google or Facebook, just to be clear. She doesn't even need to do that in order to get the results that we talked about. I've got a question from Jimmy. Oh, no, sorry, I just covered that one. I got Greg said, book my call for tomorrow. Great, Greg. Looking forward to talking to you. He says, super excited to begin creating my dream firm. Great use of language there, Greg. Looking forward to learning more about you. Sam, great interview. Thank you, Tyler and Lisa. Thanks for checking us out here, Sam. Appreciate you being here. Jimmy says, awesome. Thank you for the feedback. Booking my call now. Talk to you very soon, Jimmy. Catherine says, talk to you tomorrow. And I am looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. And I am at the top of the hour here, so I'm out of time. I see a few more things dropping in. I'll do my best to address them in the comment section if it's on Facebook or down in the YouTube comment section. But Lisa, before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share on behalf of our audience before we part ways?
There was a question someone had just starting out. I think having gone through the program would be the perfect time to join the program, because you have the time to work on your firm, and pretty soon you won't, because you're going to have so many clients. But definitely start out. I wish I'd have done it. Well, Tyler wasn't there 10 years ago. He was probably still in short pants. But I'm glad the timing was perfect.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And look, best thing about being a startup is no bad habits to break. Time is on your side right now, and you got to know how to invest that most precious resource to maximize the return on it. And that is specifically what we want to make sure is again, one of the driving reasons our program is so successful is the emphasis on you as the owner. So Lisa, I cannot begin to thank you enough for taking time away from your dream firm to help others to create theirs. Thank you so much. And for everyone else, if you are serious about creating your dream firm, there will be links floating around here. Be sure to click that and book a call, and I will be more than happy to explain exactly how we can get you involved in our Create Your Dream Firm program. Again, thank you so much, Lisa. And for everyone else, remember that only you, like Lisa, can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your work week, everyone. And again, thank you so much, Lisa.